As today's review is of a Herpa Wings Club model, we of course expect plenty of details, especially plenty of additional detailing in the print. But can Herpa live up to our expectations? We find out right after the drop. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at a Boeing 737-800 of Caribbean Airlines. At the front of the box we have the cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and at the bottom of the box we have the Caribbean Airlines branding. Then on the back side of the box we have a lovely image of the aircraft in real life. We can see it is a Herpa Wings Club model. We can see it is a limited Club edition from 2009. We have the original dimensions of the aircraft. So that's all for the box. Let's take a closer look inside and at the aircraft model itself. And here she is, the Boeing 737-800 of Caribbean Airlines, which used to be known as BWIA, so British West Indies Airways, but since 2006 the airline resides as Caribbean Airlines and is the state-owned flag carrier of Trinidad and Tobago. Caribbean Airlines branding is a hummingbird in flight. The image is a reference to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, where the island of Trinidad is known as the land of the hummingbird, and it is that branding that we find on the vertical stabilizer. On the fuselage we then find the full registration code of the aircraft, the flag of Trinidad and Tobago, and the flag of CARICOM, which is the Caribbean Community. On the underside of the fuselage we then also have this little bump that is the tail strike sensor, and then at the very tail we also have a little bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. On top of the fuselage we then find the addition of printed antennas, which I think is a lovely detail. Obviously in Scale 500 it's difficult or impossible to actually have physical antennas, but just adding them in the print adds so much to an aircraft, and I'm really happy that we have it here. Across the fuselage we then have the writing of Caribbean Airlines, and at the front of the aircraft we have just underneath the cockpit windows what I believe is the company slogan, Trinidad and Tobago, the home of the steel pot or pan. I'm not entirely sure here, but I do believe that is an old company slogan. I think the current one is the warmth of the islands, but as always, if you know more about this, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. But overall the cockpit section is actually very underwhelming, and especially underwhelming for a Wings Club model, because the only detailing we have here are simply the cockpit windows. We don't even get the window wipers. But where we luckily do get more details, also printed details, are the engine nacelles. Now they have been kept in all white, but we do have the CaribbeanAirlines.com branding on them. We have the silver leading edge and some additional markings. But what I didn't really expect was to get a ground clearance that is pretty much non-existent. I mean, this is worse than what we have on the A320neo. But I should also mention that I only had this issue on one side of the aircraft, and I don't really expect this to be an issue across the entire production batch. The physical detailing of the engine nacelles, well, it's maybe not as detailed or as nice as current releases, but for the time I think it is perfectly fine, so no complaints here from me. Then on the fuselage, just above the wings, we have the emergency exits printed on, which leads us straight to the wings, which we should definitely also take a closer look at. If we start off here with the top side, we can see the different flap slats and spoilers have been carved out, although that could definitely have been way more pronounced. But we have the markings for the emergency exit, and we also have the markings as to where to walk on the wings, so overall they do still look rather decent. Also the underside I think looks fine. Of course here also some of the more physical detailings could be more pronounced, but the print is excellent, and we find the full registration code of the aircraft here once again. And another highlight on the wings for me are the winglets, where we of course, thanks to the livery, have a lovely little detail here, but I think Herpa has done a decent job in replicating that in the print. And another little detail that Herpa has added in the print are the landing lights, which is always a most welcomed detail. And then we can take a quick look at the landing gear, and sure, if it had been a more recent release that would definitely look nicer, but I think it is still alright. And it is the landing gear that you would have gotten from Herpa Wings at the time of release of that model, so back in 2009, and for that I think it is pretty much alright. I really love that they have added some printed detailing to the front landing gear. That is something that always makes me very happy. And then last but not least, we also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here in the back side of the aircraft, and here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Boeing 737-800 in the current livery of Caribbean Airlines, a Herpa Wings Club model in scale 500 from 2009. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Overall, I think it is a very nice model, but there are of course a few things where maybe a current release would have beaten this model. We're talking, for example, the physical detailing of the landing gear or the physical detailing of the wings, or for example the cockpit section actually being very bare-boned for a Herpa Wings Club model. But overall it is a very nice model, and there are many other details where this model beats any current release. Of course, also because it is a Herpa Wings Club model, we get loads of additional printed details, a lovely detail like the landing lights, or just loads of small markings across the fuselage. And it's details like that that make the model really nice, and I understand that these details would have been exclusive for Herpa Wings Club models back in 2009, but I don't understand why they aren't standard in 2020, to be honest, but that's of course a whole different topic. The model itself is very nice, and I would say absolutely worth having in one's collection. And with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like, that would be very much appreciated. And of course, if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. With that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching, hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.